They tell you it starts with a dream. A ball under streetlights. A name shouted from the stands. A future imagined before it's understood. They show highlights, never exits. Gold jackets, never empty lockers. They sell hope as a guarantee. They never mention probability. You're told talent is enough. That work beats math. That belief bends reality. They point to the few who made it, and hide the millions who didn't. You grow up rehearsing interviews. Before you've played a snap, your body becomes an investment. Before you understand the cost, adults speak for you. Coaches decide your worth. Scouts reduce you to numbers. Speed, weight, age. You learn early that silence is rewarded. Questions are not. Pain is reframed as commitment. Fear is called weakness. You're praised for sacrifice, without being told who benefits. The dream grows louder. The warning signs stay quiet. Every step feels earned, even when the path was chosen for you. You don't notice the door narrowing, because they call it opportunity. And by the time you realize, you're already inside, clapping for a future that was never promised, only advertised. White heavy checkmark by college. The machine recognizes you, not as a person, but as a resource. Schedules tighten. Freedom thins. Your value spikes on Saturdays, disappears on Sundays. You play through things you can't name, because names slow momentum. Medical rooms become negotiation spaces, not places for healing. You're told this is preparation for something bigger. They film you constantly, but never record the doubt. Your scholarship feels like ownership, conditioned on performance, conditioned on obedience. Every mistake is permanent, every success temporary. You're replaceable, but never allowed to forget it. Freshmen arrive every year, hungrier, cheaper. You feel time compress. Careers shrink into moments. One bad game, one missed block, one step too slow. You learn the system survives you. Easily, you adapt by shrinking yourself. Your thoughts, your instincts, your voice. You don't ask what comes after, because forward is the only direction allowed, and stopping feels like failure, even when stopping might save you. If this story changed how you see the NFL, stay here. This channel exists to tell the parts they don't promote. White heavy checkmark draft day looks like validation. A number called. A name pronounced correctly. A handshake staged for cameras. They call it the beginning. But contracts say otherwise. Guaranteed dreams. Non-guaranteed money. Smiles freeze once photos end. Your phone fills with congratulations. Your locker stays temporary. You are introduced as future depth. Developmental potential. Insurance. Not cornerstone. Not plan. You receive a playbook thicker than promises. A schedule with no margin. Mistakes are no longer lessons. They are liabilities. You learn quickly who is protected and who is tested. Rookies are not expected to succeed, only to survive long enough to justify the pick. Your roster spot exists on paper, but not in intention. Meetings feel colder. Language becomes corporate. Best for the team means replaceable again. Cuts are discussed casually, like weather, like inevitability. You stop celebrating being drafted and start fearing being noticed, because attention brings evaluation, and evaluation brings decisions already made without you. White heavy check mark. Your contract looks official, but reads like a warning. Years listed without security. Bonuses framed as generosity. Clauses written for protection. Just not yours. They call it a deal, but you have no leverage. You sign because waiting is worse, because refusal is remembered. Guaranteed money becomes myth. Injury protections favor the organization. Dead money applies only to you. They can walk away clean. You carry consequences forever. You are paid to be available, not to be safe. Roster status changes daily. Your future adjusts hourly. One practice alters your value. One report reshapes your standing. You feel owned without the word being used. Controlled without chains. They remind you it's a privilege. Asking questions feels ungrateful. You learn the language of compliance. Next man up means you can disappear quietly. Contracts expire faster than bodies heal. Security exists only in performance. And performance is never enough. Because potential is cheaper. And younger. And less damaged. You don't negotiate terms. You accept conditions. Because the system rewards silence. And punishes resistance. Every signature tightens the grip. You mistake employment for protection. Until you need it. Most fans never question the system. If you do, subscribe. White heavy checkmark behind closed doors. Names fade quickly. Depth charts update without ceremony. Injuries are managed strategically. Recovery is rushed selectively. You feel pressure disguised as opportunity. Play hurt or be forgotten. They don't threaten. They imply. Your spot exists only while useful. The draft resets your value annually. New prospects arrive as reminders. Youth is leverage. Experience is liability. They track your decline before you feel it. Film never forgets mistakes. Even when coaches do. You become a statistic trending downward. Meetings shorten. Feedback disappears. Silence replaces guidance. You realize development has an expiration date. Veterans are praised publicly. Discarded privately. Loyalty is symbolic. Numbers are real. When your performance dips, so does your protection. You notice who gets time to heal. And who gets rushed back. You stop trusting pain signals. Because absence costs more than damage. You play compromised. Because the system prefers availability over longevity. They plan rosters beyond you. Before you plan retirement. You understand then. You are not built to last. You are built to be replaced. White heavy checkmark. Some careers end without announcement. No final snap. No farewell. Just a meeting. A short conversation. A phrase rehearsed countless times. Going in a different direction. Your locker empties fast. Your name disappears faster. Film stops coming. Call slow. Then stop. You realize how brief relevance is. When access vanishes, the league moves forward immediately. You do not. Your body carries proof. Your resume carries silence. Experience without opportunity. You try to explain. But people hear failure. Not system. You were drafted. Yet never established. Signed. But never secure. You trained for this life. Not for after. Your career didn't collapse. It expired. Quietly. As designed. You're told to be grateful. For the chance. Even as you process loss. The dream didn't die dramatically. It dissolved administratively. Paperwork replacing applause. You exit through hallways never shown on TV. Understanding too late. That the ending was built into the beginning. White heavy checkmark. The decline never announces itself. It hides in recovery times. In stiffness that lasts longer. In mornings that arrive heavier. You notice small adjustments first. Different warm-ups. Extra tape. Longer ice baths. Pain becomes routine. Fatigue becomes normal. You stop mentioning soreness. Because it changes how they see you. Availability becomes currency. And you can't afford to look expensive. Medical staff documents quietly. Trainers speak cautiously. Everything becomes measured. Except your future. They track your output weekly. Comparing it to younger bodies. Cheaper bodies. Less complicated bodies. You hear phrases like, managing workload. Which means limiting exposure. Which means reducing trust. Your reps shrink. Your role narrows. Your margin disappears. You are still rostered. But already distant. Meetings include you. Decisions exclude you. They plan contingencies around you, while you plan seasons ahead. The decline isn't dramatic. It's procedural, invisible until it's final. By the time you feel it clearly, they've already moved on. White heavy checkmark access defines existence in this league. Facilities, meetings, film rooms, privileges that feel permanent, until they are revoked. One day your badge works, the next it doesn't. No explanation offered, just policy. Your name no longer on schedules. Your locker reassigned efficiently. People avoid eye contact, not out of cruelty, out of protocol. You become a reminder of how quickly things change. Calls go unanswered. Messages stay unread. The silence is intentional. Distance protects the organization from obligation, from emotion, from responsibility. You are encouraged to stay ready, without direction, without resources, without timelines. You train alone, in unfamiliar gyms, trying to maintain relevance. Without access, without context, you realize connection was conditional. Support was situational. Friendship had boundaries. Once removed, you exist outside the ecosystem, still shaped by it, still carrying its expectations, but denied its infrastructure. You learn then, access was never a right. It was leverage. White heavy checkmark. The dream is sold early, before consequences are discussed, before attrition is explained. You imagine longevity. They calculate turnover. You train for success. They prepare for loss. You sacrifice youth, health, stability, for opportunity. They monetize your peak, then replace it. The cost appears later, in mobility, in memory, in options reduced. You replay decisions privately, wondering when control slipped away. The league celebrates resilience, but avoids accountability, because the dream must remain intact. To recruit the next generation, they highlight success stories, not exit statistics. You understand too late that belief fuels the system. Hope fills rosters. Scarcity enforces compliance. The dream doesn't fail everyone, just most. Quietly, efficiently, predictably. You were not unlucky. You were processed, as intended. The cost wasn't accidental. It was structural. When football leaves, identity follows. You were introduced by position, defined by availability, respected for usefulness. Now conversations change. People ask what you'll do next, as if you planned for this moment. You didn't, because the system never encourages alternatives. Focus was survival, not transition, not education, not exit strategy. Your schedule collapses overnight. Structure disappears. Routine dissolves. Silence fills hours once occupied by purpose. You realize how much of yourself was outsourced to the game. Confidence weakens, because validation vanished. You question decisions, but answers don't return careers. Friends move forward. You remain paused. The league keeps moving. You don't. You miss the pressure, because pressure meant belonging. Without it, you feel optional, unanchored. Your worth no longer measured weekly. No grades, no film, no feedback, just absence. The collapse isn't emotional. It's existential. You were someone, because the system needed you. Now it doesn't. White heavy checkmark. Once outside, the story changes. Your narrative stops being managed. No one corrects misinformation. No one clarifies context. Failure becomes personal, instead of procedural. You are expected to disappear gracefully. No complaints. No analysis. No questions. Media moves on quickly, because exits don't generate revenue. Fans remember highlights, not departures. You watch the league continue without you. Uninterrupted, unbothered. Your contribution archived. Your name searchable but inactive. You feel pressure to be grateful. For time spent. For access lost. You are told many would trade places, ignoring what you lost in the trade. Your body reminds you daily of what was exchanged. For opportunity that expired early. You attempt reinvention. But labels linger. Former player. Never established. Didn't work out. The silence after exit is intentional. Because reflection threatens the system. So quiet becomes policy. And forgetting becomes standard. White heavy checkmark. The league does not plan for careers. It plans for cycles. Turnover keeps costs controlled. Hope keeps pipelines full. Every role has a replacement waiting. Every contract assumes expiration. Longevity is accidental, not expected. The structure rewards freshness, punishes wear. Experience becomes expensive. Youth becomes efficient. The system depends on belief. That effort overrides math. That talent guarantees security. That dreams protect against probability. They don't. The design is intentional. Drafts reset value. Cuts enforce compliance. Silence maintains order. The system does not break players. It rotates through them, one generation at a time, leaving damage distributed and profit centralized. When careers end early, the league does not apologize. It recruits again, confident the dream remains intact, because the ending is never shown, only the beginning. White heavy checkmark. The dream is shown endlessly, replayed across screens, polished, curated, selective. You see arrival, not erosion. You see celebration, not negotiation leverage. You see contracts, not clauses. You see signing days, not release calls. The league markets beginnings aggressively, because beginnings sell belief. Endings sell doubt. Draft nights feel eternal. But careers are temporary. The dream requires omission. It survives on incomplete stories, on smiling faces before impact, on promises before conditions, on hope before probability. Every player believes exception applies. That preparation beats structure. That effort bends systems. It doesn't. The dream is not a lie. It's a filter, showing only survivorship, hiding volume, masking attrition. You don't see the thousands who trained just as hard and vanished quietly. The dream survives because endings are edited out and silence fills the gaps. After football, what remains is unresolved. Not failure, not success, but transition without instruction. Your body carries history. Your mind replays moments. Your identity seeks replacement. You try to explain the experience, but language fails. Because outsiders measure achievement, not cost. You learn discipline differently, without schedules enforced, without whistles, without supervision. Freedom feels heavier than structure. You must choose purpose now, without rankings, without depth charts, without external validation. Some rebuild quietly, some struggle publicly, some never recover direction. The system offers no roadmap. Once usefulness expires, because guidance threatens illusion. You are expected to adapt instantly, as if detachment were natural, as if replacement were painless. What remains is not bitterness. It is clarity. That preparation was one-dimensional, and exit was never rehearsed. White heavy checkmark. Most NFL careers do not fail. They conclude as designed. Short, replaceable, efficient. The illusion is longevity. The reality is churn. Opportunity exists. Security does not. The system depends on belief, more than outcomes, because belief keeps entry full. Even when exits overflow, your career can end. Before identity forms, before stability builds, before safety nets appear. You may never start. Despite years invested, despite sacrifice normalized, despite readiness claimed, the league continues unaffected, Because individuals are variables, not pillars. What ends is not just employment. It is narrative ownership. You are remembered briefly, then replaced immediately. This is not tragedy. It is architecture. And understanding that is the first truth most never hear. This isn't highlights. It's consequences. Subscribe to Dark Side of Football.